Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back this week. I am literally overwhelmed with excitement because this is going to be such an awesome episode, another awesome episode, because I feel like lately we've been on a roll. You'll have to tell me what you think. But I know how many of you are excited about passive income opportunities on Etsy, meaning you can get some work done. You're going to do a lot of work up front, but once it's established, it can keep paying you and paying you and paying you passively, and you're not physically making a product each and every time you get an order. So today we have a special guest. Her name is Jenny from the Shop on TikTok. You'll be able to find all of the information about her in the show notes. And she is an expert for print on demand. She's going to explain what that means if that is a new term for you, but it is a really cool way to sell a physical product that you don't make and make a passive income from Etsy. Now, Jenny used to be a full-time teacher, and she built up her print on demand business so well that it actually replaced her teaching salary. Is that crazy or what? And as of last June of 2021, she actually was able to leave her teaching job and continue to run her print-on-demand business so that she and her husband and her little girl could move to Greece. Can you even handle that? They have so much time freedom and financial freedom to travel, and she is able to run her shop from anywhere in the world and take great care of her customers. And her story is just delightful. And this episode, she was so generous, you guys. She's a doll. If you don't follow her yet on TikTok, by the end of this episode, I'm sure you're going to want to. She is so generous and helpful. And I just know that so many answers and inspiration is inside of this episode. So let's go. It's time to introduce you to Jenny. Hey, Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm completely ecstatic to have you. This is so much fun.
Yeah, totally. I'm so excited to be here. It's my first podcast interview, so you get the honors of doing it. And I feel most comfortable having my first podcast interview with you. So thank you.
Melt me into a puddle before we even get started. Well, I'm honored. That feels like a very special moment to have, but also you have so much value to offer. I'm just like ecstatic that we're here together and everyone gets to hear your brilliance and your goodness. And so guys, you're going to be totally entertained by this, that Jenny and I literally met on TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's funny. That's probably happening left and right, but I'm 40 and I feel like that's less common in my age bracket. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Email me if I'm wrong. But to me, that's a riot. And we were such fast friends.
Yeah, right away.
We connected right away. And I just love when there's other Etsy experts and they're willing to like chat together and collaborate. And we just feel like there's so much room at the table for all of us. And we all have a different superpower. And Jenny's is just like next level. I know how many of you are excited about like passive income on Etsy. And I know how many of you are curious about print on demand. And she is going to open up that entire world for us today. I literally cannot wait because I have not heard all of this yet. I would take notes if my pen hadn't just died. So thank goodness we're recording you here. But first of all, you guys are going to love this. I would love for you, Jenny, let's just start. Like, tell us a bit about your story. Like what's your background? How did you get started on Etsy?
Okay. So my background, well, basically I'm married, I have a toddler. So those are first and foremost in my life. I was a teacher up until last June. So I thought I'd be a teacher for my whole life. I jumped into teaching about 8 years ago. I loved it in the beginning, but then it just got, it was exhausting. And then to have my family life too, and we had a lot of goals. We wanted to be able to travel. We wanted to be able to move to Greece for part of the year. So teaching was not allowing for those things. And I just wanted to be home with my daughter and watch her grow up. About 2 years ago, I was like, I need to figure out something to make me money so that I can quit my teaching position. But it felt like I I I had no clue how I was going to do that. I didn't know anything about e-commerce, or I didn't even know about passive income. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know about print on demand, but I knew about things like Etsy. And I also knew that I always wanted to write a children's book, but it just felt like a stretch for me. But I was like, I need to figure something out. So let me start with at least trying to write a children's book. So I started looking up how to do that. And I came across that you could use the iPad to make digital illustrations. And I always used to paint back in the day. I would sell paintings on Etsy, like not very successfully, but anyways, so I can paint. So I learned that you can do it on the iPad on this app called Procreate, which I'll get into a little bit more because this app changed my life. But anyways, so Procreate was the drawing app, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm definitely going to be able to make my book. And so I illustrated all the pages. I wrote everything. It's a cute little children's book. And then I published it through KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon. And when I was looking into how to advertise my book, because I was like, this is going to be my breakthrough. I'm going to sell all these books. I'm going to be a best-selling author. I'm going to be able to quit my teaching position. Like, I thought this was it. So as I'm looking up how to advertise my book, I'm on YouTube and I fall down the rabbit hole and I find, you know how like those pop-up videos come on sometimes of advertising. Somebody popped up like in the middle of the video that I was watching, and they're talking about selling t-shirts on Etsy. So I was like, that sounds fun. I'm like a squirrel. Like I got sidetracked right away, and I'm like off of my book and on to Etsy. And it was right when the pandemic started, when this happened. And I had about 2 weeks off from school because they shut down the school. So I was like, oh, cool. I have extra time to look up how to advertise my book. And then I fell into this Etsy t-shirt thing. So right away, I'm like, a mess because I had anxiety from the pandemic and everything too. So I was just very spontaneous and impulsive. So I like sprinted over to Amazon.com and I purchased a Cricut machine and all the Cricut materials. If you don't know what a Cricut machine is, it's I would be able to make my own t-shirts with it basically. So I spent like $500 that I didn't have, and and hit submit. And then I went right back to Etsy, and instead of looking up how to advertise my book, I looked up how to start an Etsy t-shirt shop. And within 20 minutes after that purchase, I found a YouTube that was talking about print on demand and how you do not have to touch a single product ever if you don't want to. You can just design and send your design to the printing company and they print and ship the shirts for you. So I was like, what? So then I sprint back over to Amazon and I cancel my Cricut.
No.
And then and then I went back to Etsy and YouTube and watched videos on print on demand through Etsy. And I started my shop right away, and I started making sales that first month. And and then I was like, this is it. So I completely forgot about my book and everything, even though I thought that's what was going to be it. But it opened up the door for me to find Etsy print on demand, and that was it. So then that was by May of 2020, I was up and running with my Etsy shop, where I was like, whoa, I can make this work. So I worked so hard from May of 2020, until now, basically. But May of 2020, I like hit the ground running. I was like, this is going to be it. I only have 1 year of teaching left in me.
Oh my gosh.
That was my goal. And I said, I'm not going to quit my teaching position until I match my teaching salary. And the day that I quit, the day that I resigned, I looked up the stats of what I made for that month, and it passed my monthly teaching salary.
Oh my
So it's real
gosh.
cool, like how it worked out. It's perfect. I always say divine timing, like everything happens when it should,
Yeah.
if it's meant to be, and it was meant to be. And so I quit my teaching position in June, and we moved to Greece in July.
It's
And
crazy.
yeah, and then we're home for the holidays right now and for some like weddings and some things, visiting family, and then we're heading back to Greece. So it's just been a whirlwind of amazing things and truly life changing and not super hard to do. Like I said, I didn't have a background in e-commerce or business at all. I didn't even go to school to be a graphic designer. So it's pretty achievable, I feel, for most people to make this happen too. I put in a lot of time and like hard work and a lot of hours and effort that first year because I wanted to get out so badly. So I think having a why and a reason is like the most important thing, to get going and to not stop when times are slow. But it it I don't know. I'm like speechless. Like it worked, you know? So,
As you should be. That is a completely insane story. I
yeah.
I mean, and I love that you also say it's attainable. So I mean, you very much obviously mastered like the POD print on demand space. That's your superpower, right? So like you're at the point now where you're teaching it on TikTok. Like you have quite a following. People are learning a lot from you. Some of my listeners, we've never talked about print on demand on the podcast before, and they may have no concept. So can we just like maybe start from the very beginning of that? Just explain like what print on demand is and how it works.
Definitely. Okay, so I'll try to break it down in simplest terms. So basically, you would make a design you can make designs on your iPad. There's different apps that you can use. There's Procreate, like I talked about, how I illustrated my book on that. It's a really cool drawing app, different types of paintbrushes and colors and fonts that you can use. So you can make a design on Procreate, or you can make designs on GoDaddy Studios. It used to be called the Over app. It's called GoDaddy.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
It switched over recently. Yeah. So I like to let people know that because a lot of my older TikToks talk about Over app, but it's now GoDaddy
I have a
Studios.
screenshot of that from one of your TikToks.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I got that little
Yeah.
nugget.
So, and then it's the same exact thing. They just changed the name. And then you can also do designs on Canva, and you can use your desktop for Canva and then also GoDaddy Studios. So you don't actually need an iPad to do this. A lot of
Okay.
people let that hold them up. They're like, well, I don't have an iPad. You can do this on your desktop or your laptop as well.
What about a phone? Can people get away with it on a phone?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. My one friend who was very successful with this, she just got her iPad now, but she did her whole entire business from her phone.
What? I
It's
can't fathom
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I have the apps on my phone too. Like if I'm on the beach and feel like designing or something, I'll whip it out and make designs on my phone. That's how easy it is. You can
Wow.
literally from a little rectangle make a living. But anyways, I could go on and on about that. But
No,
anyway,
it's like there's so much. It's so good. So we've got
yeah.
the design element, and that's super simple. And you can do that on your phone, your iPad, your desktop with those three. I mean, thank you. And guys, I'll put those in the show notes for you because that was gold, liquid gold right there. So then what, like, how do we get that into the product? Like from
So you
that to, yeah.
Yep. So you save your design as a PNG file.
Okay.
PNG means transparent background. If you saved it as a JPEG, like a regular picture, it would have a white box behind the design. So you'd have a white box on your shirt. And so PNG means transparent background, and just the design is going to be on the shirt. So you save it as that. You upload the PNG file to a printing company. So I mostly use Printify, but you can also use Printful. They're both great, but I have my reasons why I choose Printify right now. But so you you upload the design on whatever product you want from that printing company. There's t-shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, bags, cell phone cases, mugs, like hundreds of products. Okay. But I mostly just do t-shirts, sweatshirts, and mugs. Those are my biggest
Okay.
sellers. So we'll keep it simple for right now. So I upload my design to a t-shirt on Printify, and my Printify is synced to my Etsy. I don't want all these steps to overwhelm anybody because it's really not that many steps once you go through it once. It's very automated. So it's really just the first like couple times. So I don't want these steps to overwhelm anybody. It's synced to Etsy. And when somebody goes on to Etsy and they buy a shirt from me, it's connected to the printing company. So the printing company will print the shirt and ship it for me. And that's it.
Okay. So if it's synced to Etsy, are you still creating each listing, or do they get sent over, or is it just connected on the back end where when the order comes through, it goes straight to the printing company?
You can do it either way.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you set it up in the printing company first and sync it to Etsy, it then makes an Etsy listing, and it's all the sizes are synced up. So when
Wow.
somebody orders it, it's synced and they'll print it and ship it. But you can also do it if you're like type A and you want to be like more hands-on. You can also have it to where you manually do each order, which gets out of hand once you get bigger.
Okay.
It's much easier, I think, to just automate it.
Hey, this podcast is brought to you by my free masterclass, How to Kickstart Your Etsy Shop. Do you have goals for your Etsy shop that aren't quite happening yet? Whether you're an Etsy hobbyist or have dreams for a full-time, replace your day job kind of business, there's definitely a learning curve to figuring out your own Etsy secret sauce. And I totally want to help you connect those dots and crack the Etsy code even faster. So I went ahead and made a free Etsy masterclass for you to start learning some of the critical pieces of the Etsy puzzle that will help you start getting those sales. My How to Kickstart Your Etsy Shop free masterclass will give you massive insights that will make your Etsy challenges feel like an old memory. I'm teaching you 2 myths that will hold you back if you buy in, 2 huge mistakes that most new sellers make, and 3 skills to master to become successful on Etsy. I can't wait to hear your quick wins that come out of this, you guys. You can grab it today. It's available on demand at howtosellyourstuff.com/masterclass. That's howtosellyourstuff.com/masterclass. I will see you there. You totally just teed up my kind of follow-up question. So I'm a bit of a control freak. I love the idea of like the orders come in and it just goes straight through and the company fulfills it. But I think as someone who's always had a handmade product, I've always handmade it, made sure it was perfect, like packaged it. And if it wasn't perfect, I fixed it, packaged it, boxed it, made sure I had a lot of control over, my product and my packaging and like my shipping. I obviously can't control it once it goes to the place, but I at least know when is it going to ship and when is it, I have more data. So help me understand, should people be worried about that? And like, what do you think are like the pros and cons around print on demand? Like because of those concerns?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That was probably one of the hardest things for me to like get over. I as well started handmade on Etsy years ago. I would sell my paintings. I tried selling jewelry, a bunch of random things that were not successful at all. But like I loved the hands-on part of it because you could like add in some cute like branding.
Yes.
You could, put in a nice letter or cute wrapping and stuff like that. So that was hard for me initially to get over, especially you see all these TikToks, like small business TikTok. I love because it's so cute to see people making like packaging their orders and like there's a little pull in me that's like,
yes,
I I kind of want to touch the things, right? But then
And
once
then you
you
can't live
start
in Greece.
that, yeah, yeah. And like once you start making a decent amount of money from this, you're like, whoa, I would never be able to find the time to do that.
Mhm.
It would be so out of hand. I would have so much inventory.
Yes. Sign
Um,
shot party of one. Yes. Hmm.
yeah, I can't even imagine. And the time that I don't have to spend on packaging orders or making the products or going to the post office, I can spend that time on creating new listings and putting them up. Or I can just spend the time like with my family and go to the beach, you know? So like that part of it is so huge. You have so much time is freed up and space, and you're not trapped to one area. Like you said, I can go anywhere in the world and do this and not have to worry about inventory. Also, there's okay, so with print on demand, I can offer so every different size from extra
Right.
small to a 5X in any color. Whereas if I was a small business making my t-shirts, I would probably only order a certain amount of white
Absolutely.
sweatshirts, a certain amount of pink sweatshirts, a certain amount. Now I can put my design on anything and see if it sells. And if it sells, awesome. And if it doesn't, okay. You know, you're not wasting
Right.
inventory. You're not wasting inventory or money on things that might not ever sell. So that's like the huge pro of it is the flexibility with being able to go wherever, work wherever, and not be wasting money on products that may or may not sell. The cons of it, I don't even really like to say that there's cons because honestly, Lizzie, like any little hiccup with this business is I never look at it as like a drag. Like it's never major to me because I will do
Okay.
anything to like not ever have to go back to my teaching position. So so like any little headache with this, I'm like skipping around. Like it's gonna be okay, you know, because like anything's better than going back to like corporate for me personally.
Sure.
But
Do you think the customer experience, I think I just cut you off. I'm so
no, no,
sorry.
it's
When
fine.
you get to it, then I would love to know if you think the end, like your customer experience, like the way they're receiving the packaging, the turnaround time is, how are they responding to that? Or is it a problem?
Yeah, so the important thing is to because there's you can't control, you know, how long a package is going to get. But the good thing is the printing companies put they keep it up to date. So every day it might be something a little bit different. They'll tell you how many days their production time currently is.
Okay.
So the one printer that I use on Printify, I think right now it's like 1 day. So they'll take like a day to make it.
Wow.
Some will say 3 days. I was like 1 to 3 days. So you have to factor in mind the production days. It's typically 1 to 3 days, but they will tell you exactly what they're currently running at right now. And then most printing companies ship first class, so it's like 2 to 5 days. So
Okay.
and then on Etsy, I changed my shipping profile. I put it out that they will receive it in 1 to 2 weeks,
Okay.
typically. And then during the holidays, I'll push it back to 3 weeks because what you want to do is you want to over what is it?
It's where you under
Promise
promise and over
or
deliver.
yeah, under promise, over deliver. Thank you. Um, so that way, like we're not Amazon, right? So they're not
Right.
gonna get it in 2 days, and I don't want to work with anybody who thinks they're gonna get it in 2 days. So
No.
when people message me, my customers, and say like, actually yesterday somebody asked if they could get their sweatshirt by the 4th, and I said that's cutting it very, very close, even if we did expedited shipping. And I made it sound like it's not possible because people who want it tomorrow are the ones that are going to be annoyed and they're going to leave you a bad
Yes.
review. So, like, just be honest with your customer that most of the time, if they want it fast, just be honest and basically tell them, like, it's not really possible. Because, like, those types of people that want it fast are going to leave you the bad reviews.
Right.
You want to just extend your shipping so you don't have to worry about it. I used to make my shipping like they'd get it in 5 to 7 days, and then I'd be stressing all the time and like
Okay.
checking the orders to see if they're going to get it in time, and like So it's just a weight is lifted. And
This
then,
is really good stuff, guys. This is really good stuff, guys. Keep going.
So, and they see the shipping times. They're well aware of that. And once a customer orders something, they'll also get an email from Etsy saying like their estimated shipping date. So they're well aware. And if they're aware of this upfront, then they're not going to bother you about when is their package coming. And then on the off chance that it's going to take longer than 2 weeks, which is so rare, there is a setting. You can go into their order and you can extend the shipping time so that you don't get in trouble with Etsy.
Okay.
And you just type them a little note and say like something like, it's sorry, it's taking a little longer. Etsy's having me extend your shipping estimated date. You'll have your package soon,
Okay.
But that's very rare that happens. So, and that's like literally the worst of this business, and it's not even that bad, And if somebody gets something that they're not happy with, like if there is a printing error, you just have them send you a picture of the shirt, and then you send the printing company a picture, and they reprint it.
No way. Oh.
They'll ask you if you want a reprint or a refund. So I just say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry it left the fulfillment center like that. I will send you out a new one ASAP. And I never have trouble with Printful or Printify for them to reprint or refund me.
Wow. Were there any other, I know I did cut you off earlier. Were there any other cons or pros you wanted to touch on that you thought, because you know best what we need to hear?
Yeah, not really. Honestly, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Do you have a feeling over, a lot of the questions I get asked are, do I think that, is Etsy better, or is it better to have your own website? For print on demand, do you have an opinion about that, about which one would be better?
Yeah. So you can make a Shopify if you want to, and do print on demand through Shopify. I'm sure there's other sites that you can as well. But I stick with Etsy because as long as you have good SEO, so search engine optimization, your titles and tags, Etsy's going to match, they're going to bring you customers. They're going to match your products with the right customer. And it's just a 20-cent listing fee per why am I
every time you renew or you create a new listing? Yeah
It's 20 cents, and there are other fees that come with Etsy once you make sales, but in my opinion it's worth it. Like, we're not doing a brick and mortar, like
100%.
So you can't beat it. Honestly, I'm not sure too much about Shopify. I think there are some fees there. The big thing is, I do know with Shopify, you have to do your own advertising and bring your own people in. So you would have to do like Facebook, you would have to do Instagram, and you need to bring the people to you. Whereas Etsy is very good with matching your product with a buyer. So hands down, in my opinion, is Etsy. I think it's less work.
Perfect segue. I was going to actually ask you, and I'm so with you. I always tell people when they start with Etsy, start building an email list. Then you can also add your own site down the road. But Etsy bringing your customers is phenomenal. But you totally stoked a question in my mind. Do you, for your shop, use social media or Etsy ads to promote your products, to get them out there more?
No, and that's probably one of my favorite parts about Etsy too.
That's crazy pants.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it, because the last thing I want to do is like when you first start your Etsy shop or a business, I feel like you have to like kind of start with annoying your family and friends on social media. And I just can't do that. I've done it in the past and it's cringe for me. I hated it. So once I figured out that if you have the right titles and tags, Etsy's going to bring the right people to you, then you don't have to annoy people. So like my family and friends don't really know what I do. They know to a certain extent. But I don't tell my family and friends my Etsy shop, because they'll think I'm a lunatic, because I have thousands of different niches for my t-shirts and stuff, things that I'm not even really into, but you just kind of go where the money is and follow the trends and stuff. So I I don't even tell people, you know,
So
my
your one
parents.
shop covers multiple niches?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we need a whole nother episode, Jenny.
I know. I have like a million different niches in my,
I cannot believe that. That totally goes against. That's
yeah.
so cool. Okay,
I
we need
want to
another.
reach everybody. But I would say like my one niche or niche, however you say it, is like clothing. And
Okay.
then the stuff that's on the clothing is everything from teacher stuff to mom stuff to dog lover stuff to tennis players to firefighters to dentists to library, anything
Okay.
you can think of. I'm putting on a shirt.
So when they say to niche down, you're doing that in your titles and your tags rather than as a shop as a whole.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, actually, like a lot of Etsy sellers will say like not to do that. They'll say like, no, just have a t-shirt shop of only dog lovers. But in my experience and the experience of about 20 family and friends who were doing this, we hit it all and we're all pretty successful with it. So
I'm so encouraged by that, actually.
yeah.
I know it's so important to get really niche in your keywords on your listings, but this is really cool to hear that even as a new shop, you don't have to go. That's really encouraging.
But you know what's interesting too, Lizzie, this brings up another point. I'm pretty sure for like, if I ever opened up a Shopify store, I would niche down hard for my Shopify store. And I would only do like a nurse shop or a dog lover shop. I don't think the many different niches would work for a Shopify store.
Because you're depending totally on SEO, right? Like the whole shop, everything has to point to the same thing or Google gets confused about what you're.
And your social media, you would want like all dog lovers, like on your Instagram to bring to your dog lover Shopify store, you know? So I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
No, you've opened up an entire new universe in my brain. So I know everyone listening is super excited. I think that gives us a lot more freedom for this particular, for print on demand. I think it's so good.
It's literally endless. Like people are like, but don't you run out of ideas? And it's like, no, it does not stop coming. Like, because you'll be inspired through everyday life, like just having a conversation with somebody like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a firefighter. Ding. Oh, I can make up firefighter shirts, you know, like it's just endless. The amount of designs and niches that you can design for.
Wow.
Do you ever find yourself wondering how on earth to respond to a customer's DM when they're either asking about their order status or upset about something? Today's episode is brought to you by my very own Customer Service Templates PDF download and mini course. The most common post I'm seeing in the Etsy forum these days are people asking for advice in dealing with various customer service problems and situations. I totally get it, you guys. Like when we're in the heat of that moment and we're feeling frazzled or overwhelmed, it can be extra hard to know what to say to diffuse a situation. Like we want to sound empathetic and confident. We want to be professional and warm. Like we wonder how our tone is coming across to that customer as we type out our response and worry that one wrong word could land us in 1-star review land. Like, not to mention, not everyone was born with the gift of the written word. Maybe you're someone who is utterly exhausted by the idea of wordsmithing great responses to customers, and you'd much rather spend your energy on product development or marketing brainstorming. I totally get you, and I totally got you. And now you don't have to figure it out on your own. When you order my customer service templates offering, I'm going to literally hand you over 20 different already written templates for daily, common, and those difficult conversations. They're already written out exactly how I use them so you can actually see them in action. And then I'm also going to give them to you as like a fill in the blank template that you can just make your own and save in your Etsy snippets or an easy to access document on your phone or computer. With this, I'm going to throw in a mini course that goes over in detail my personal customer service strategy so that when you do need to come up with a response to something in the future, you're already going to have that inner culture for customer service that's going to guide your writing, and I promise it'll make it so much easier. You can grab these tools today at howtosellyourstuff.com. Leave the guesswork out of your DM responses. I'll do the writing so you can get back to creating.
Okay. All right. So my next question, and this is a little more, I want to know about how you do your photos, listing photos, because for me, I create this. Well, I created my own mock-ups. Basically, I took pictures of blank signs, and then I can digitally put the lettering on it so I can test it. I created my own print on demand, except for I still have to print it on with my pretty little hands. But I do my own photo shoots because I have my physical product. So I'm thinking, I mean, you could certainly order samples, obviously, of your shirts, but that could get tricky with all the colors and sizes. How do you do photos? Because we know how important they are for Etsy. We talk about it on the podcast all the time. Photos are so important. Tell me what your process is for that.
Yes, great question. So I agree. I think the product image is the most important part of your listing, because on
Yes.
Etsy, people are shopping with their eyes. So, because they're typing in whatever they're looking for, and then all of the products appear, and they're basically shopping with their eyes and what appeals to them or what gives them a feeling, and then they're clicking on it, and then the other part is important, you know.
Yes.
um the printing companies, Printful and Printify, they offer they're called t-shirt mock-ups. So like they offer a model wearing the shirt and they'll put your design on it. Or there's like a flat lay of the t-shirt and they'll put your design on it. And that can sync to your Etsy shop, but I advise not to use the ones that they offer. There's no like vibe to it.
Yes.
They're
It's
just
too vanilla.
very vanilla, and you're like, people aren't going to get a feeling from looking at that. It's just very vanilla, very plain. So what I like to do is I buy my t-shirt mock-ups. I go to Etsy, and in the search, I'll type in the exact t-shirt brand that I sell. By the way, my biggest sellers are Bella and Canvas adult unisex
The
t-shirts.
best. Mm-hmm.
They're so soft and they're great. So Bella Canvas 3001 adult unisex. So I will type that into the Etsy search, and then I'll type the color that I'm looking for. So I might type in Bella Canvas adult unisex black t-shirt mock-up. And then a whole slew of mock-ups are going to appear. Mock-up meaning there might be a model wearing the black t-shirt and it's blank. Or there might be, the black t-shirt might be laying nicely on like the floor, and there might be some props around it to make it look pretty, and it's blank, and you buy it for a couple dollars. People sell them anywhere from like $2 to $8, and you download it to your computer, and then you bring it into like GoDaddy Studios or Procreate or Canva, and you bring your PNG file, the transparent design, on top of it, and you just size it to where it looks like it's on the shirt.
Okay.
And then then you have to lower the opacity. There's a tool somewhere in GoDaddy Studios called opacity. You lower the opacity on the design to make it look like it's printed into the shirt.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that piece. Wow.
Yeah, if you leave the opacity up, it's going to look so bright and vibrant, almost like how a vinyl would be.
Okay.
So you want it to look as close to what they're going to get in the mail. So you need to make it look like the ink was like printed in. So you lower the opacity to like 90, anywhere between like 85 and 95. And it looks real.
I mean, that is a humongous tip. That is.
And like, so, okay, so say I bought this black t-shirt mock-up for $3, but I've used it 300 times in my shop. You can use it over and over again.
And I mean, and that's the cool thing. I got that advice years ago because I got nervous. I'm like, I need to get new pictures. And a graphic designer was like, no, because most Etsy shoppers are just seeing it in the feed. They're not coming over to your shop. And if they do, it just looks unified. It looks like this is your brand and you're organized, but most people are just seeing it stand out in the feed amongst all the other options.
Yeah, most people aren't going to your shop and like browsing through your shop. Like when people go to Etsy, they have in mind what they want and they type it in, and then like you're like on the shelves with everybody. Like if you walked into Target, like, so it's okay to use the same one over and over again.
That's a great way to put that.
Obsession though. Like,
say that again.
I have an obsession with buying mock-ups. So I have a lot of mock-ups, all different colors, flat lays, models. you name it. Just from over the past like year and a half, I've just collected them, So it
Do you
is.
find yourself going back to the same provider, or do you tend to like to grab them from different designers?
I do. I love, she's called Moody Mox.
Oh, thanks for
Um,
sharing that. You didn't have to do that,
yeah.
Jenny. Wow.
Yeah, no, I
So
share
generous.
something on TikTok too. I really like her stuff. And then Stop, Mock, and Roll. That's a very good friend of mine, and she just started it like 6 months ago, and she's already doing pretty well with her mock-up store. So Stop, Mock, and Roll, and Moody Mox.
I'll link those for you guys. That's
Yeah,
extremely generous. That is a pro tip right there. When someone is super successful, tells you where they get their mock-ups.
Yeah, really though, honestly, like that is a good tip, because like you can buy some not so great mock-ups. Like you want to spend a little bit more money on your mock-ups, because it's what's giving people a feeling or a vibe, or they can see themselves in the shirt too. And that's what's going to bring them to your listing. So
yeah, it's like paying a photographer when you get real serious.
yeah.
Okay, so gosh, this is just we could do this 10 times over. So I would like to know from you, Jenny, as a fellow Etsy coach, do you have any specific advice you'd like to give, beginners or people in their Etsy shop, maybe something that they don't hear everywhere, a little bit about what you coach people on? Like, what would be an important thing that you would want to impart?
Yeah. So basically everything we've talked about in this interview up until now is the majority of it. Like I just gave away how to do it. Like honestly, there's a couple more like tips and tricks, but it's honestly that easy. It's an hour's worth of information that you need. And then the rest is applying it and practicing it and just doing it. So that being said, I think the biggest part of embarking on a business like this is the mindset piece.
Yes.
I think that you need to have a why. Like, why do you want this to work? Like, if you're going into this like, oh, I don't know, like, it'll be nice if it could work. Like that, no. You need to go into this like, this is going to work. Because I've seen it work for Jenny, and it's worked for Jenny's husband, and it's worked for Jenny's parents who are in their 60s.
Wow.
And for about 20 of my friends. Like it works, but you need to go into it saying like, this
I'm going to figure this out. Like,
yeah, this is going to work for me too. Like you have all the answers. So there's no reason why it won't work for you. Now, some people it's going to work faster for, others it's going to take more time, but it works if you just don't stop. And you need to have a why, like, why do I want to do this? Mine was to quit my teaching position, spend time with my family, travel, time freedom. Like, and I was not going to stop until I figured it out. And Etsy might not have been it.
Yeah.
It ended up being it for me. It might not be it for somebody who's trying it, but you need to try new things. And if this is something that you're interested in and feeling a pull towards, you need to try it. And if it works out for you, awesome. But guess what? If it doesn't, something else, you will find something else while you're working on this. Another door will open for you. I promise you. Because I thought my book was going to be it. I didn't know about Etsy print on demand. I thought for sure my book was going to be it. And it was not it at all. I think I sold, I don't know, like a couple to my family and friends. And that's okay. I'm not upset about it. I'm happy that I tried that because that's what brought me to Etsy. So you just need to be open-minded and try new things and go all in with it. And if this works, great. If it doesn't, something else will. Mm-hmm. You don't know until you open that first door. So,
I'm such a sucker for the mindset with you. I always say, like, you have to become the person who's capable of having the success you want to have. And none of us come out that way. There are some people, one of my clients, who she'll be on later. She's a baker, and she's one of those people who has like Midas touch, like everything she touches turns to gold. Most of us are not a unicorn like her, but she's precious, and I'm really glad she has that. I've had to become a person who can run this kind of a business, who can have a full-time Etsy shop, who can have a podcast. You have to develop some skills, and the mindset is so important. But everything is figure outable. You've really got to have you don't have to be as like plucky as me, but you do have to have kind of a can-do attitude, right?
Right. Yes, definitely.
So for our like beginners, did you go, please, if you're going to add something.
I was just going to say, like, one of the things that really helped me was listening to podcasts and audibles. My favorite podcast that like got me through it, like I listened to and from work every day. It was called Quit Your Day Job, but she just changed the name to the Kathy Heller Show. And it's an amazing podcast. And she kind of does what you're doing, like interviewing other people who are successful with businesses. And yours is primarily Etsy, but it's inspiring to listen to other people who have figured it out, and like you can get to know them more, but just by listening to their stories on the podcast. And you're like, hey, like that could be me. Like we're just everyday people trying to figure it out too. Like nothing makes us different from one another. So it's just really inspiring to hear other people's stories of how they made it happen. And you can see like they started out where you were, like they wanted something more, they were unhappy. And it just makes it more possible for you to do it too. So podcasts, like I turned my my car, I called it automobile university, like university.
Cute.
Because I was like, I'm not wasting any time. That's the other thing. Pockets of your time, do not waste any of your time. You could be listening to an Audible on your way to work. You could be listening to a podcast when you're doing dishes. You could be watching a YouTube when you're on your exercise bike. Like you don't waste the pockets of your time, because they are precious. And that's how I built this business so quickly, was every pocket of my time I was either listening to something or like doing something to better myself. So
absolute gold, ma'am. I mean, yes, I will make sure you guys have that I haven't listened to that podcast actually. I'll make sure I get her linked in those show notes for us. So for our like beginners, we're like, okay, you have my attention, Jenny. This feels like something I can do. I'm excited. I'm motivated. Can we just get like 3 quick tips? Like what are the first 3 little things they should do to start? Just a couple action steps.
Okay. Well, you can follow me on TikTok.
Yes.
Jenny from the shop on TikTok.
We'll link you.
So I share a lot of tips and tricks on there on how to get started. And then there's a link in my bio on there. And I have the course that I took to get me to where I am is in there. I hired these people as my mentors as well. They're not mentoring currently, but they were amazing. They're called the Life Hacker Couple. And they are multimillionaires from Etsy, print on demand. So I learned a lot from them. They are gold. They're amazing. Pretty much everything I teach on my Etsy or on my TikTok is what I learned from them. They like molded me into this little print on demand wizard. But their course is on in the link in my TikTok bio. And then I also offer, like, if you got started and you're not sure if your shop is like up to par or if you're missing certain things, I have a link for you to sign up for me to review your Etsy shop. And I send a video of me going through their Etsy shop, talking about what I see they're doing right, what I see they could improve on. And I like to throw in some little gems throughout there too. And then I also have a sign up for a 30-minute consultation with me where you can ask any Etsy print on demand questions.
Wow.
That's what I have currently. There's other things in the works for the future, but right now that's what I have.
Well, when you're ready to launch something, you are always welcome as a guest here, and we will share more of your brilliance, and then you can share what's going on with your business. But thank you. You've been extremely generous.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for having me on here.
I just like love my listeners and giving them what they want. And this was like above and beyond. You just gave them like a sirloin dinner for print on demand. So you guys definitely go ahead, huh?
Say I like would have wanted somebody to do the same for me, you know, like I can tell you how to do it, but like now it's your turn to put in the work if it's something that it seems that you would be interested in, you know. So I'm more than happy to pay it forward and teach others how to do it as well, because it's truly life-changing and there's enough for everyone. There are billions of shoppers on Etsy.
Yes.
So
and growing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys follow her on TikTok. It's at Jenny from the shop, 2 P's, and she will be linked, of course. That's the best place to, that's like where she is. And, you know, at first I was like, oh, we don't have a site or we don't have a this yet. I'm like, this is genius because she doesn't have to maintain anything other than TikTok. So there's like something to be said for if you want to simplify, this is the girl to follow. So give her a follow. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Check out that course. If you want to do print on demand, you can go to YouTube University and you can learn a lot, but you're going to spend so much time hacking around all over YouTube, trying to find what you need. Whereas the course she's going to point you to, it's not even hers. She's just like recommending the one she went through is going to take you like step by step by layer in the exact order you need to see it in. So if you can do that, I suggest checking that out. And I mean, I think that's a wrap for today. I don't even want to say goodbye to you. This has been way too much fun.
I know, it's been great. Thank you so much for having me on here. I know that this is the first of many coffee talks, so I'm excited.
Girl, you can't get rid of me if you try. No, thank you so much for being here. And I will talk to you very soon.
How awesome was that? I mean, I am excited. I literally want to go start a print on demand shop now. It just feels so good, doesn't it? It feels very doable, and it feels like I'm not going to spend 10 hours a day painting signs. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed Jenny, and I learned so much from everything that she shared. It was a breath of fresh air. So let me know how you enjoyed the episode as well. Before we sign off today, just in case you didn't hear the memo yet, I want to let you guys know that I am doing a giveaway right now. There's a little bit of time left for you to jump in on it. So basically, here's the deal. I am giving away 2 30-minute Zoom coaching sessions with me. I don't know if you know this, but I actually do coaching, like one-on-one coaching that you can hire me for. And I'm going to give away 2 30-minute sessions. I'm excited because I really, really love hearing your ideas and getting with you one-on-one and digging in so I can really add very personalized value. So we have a little bit of time left, and I'm inviting you to rate and review. You can write a review for the podcast, and anyone who writes a review and rates will be entered into a drawing to win one of those free 30-minute sessions for one-on-one coaching with me. I'm going to pick 2 winners out of a hat, and you'll get to ask me on Zoom, just you and me, your biggest burning Etsy questions, and I'll help you as much as I can in that 30 minutes. I'm going to announce those winners on February 17th, so make sure that you write your review at least a week in advance to that, and make sure you tune in on the 17th because I can't get your contact information from wherever you review. There's privacy rules about that. So the way that I'm going to let you know that you won is I'm going to read the winning reviews on the podcast episode on the 17th, and then from there you can reach out to me to schedule your session. And if you have written me a review before this contest started, I'm not leaving you out. You're amazing. You can also enter the drawing by sending me an email with just a written testimonial from you that I can add on my website about the podcast, about my coaching, any of that. And that email address is Lizzie, Lizzie, Smiley, Smiley @yahoo.com. So jump in on that if you'd like. And for now, I'll see you next week. Go make something awesome.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value. and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.